Before we get to camera.
Call the Mars City Council regular meeting to order, Tuesday, September 16th at noon. Could we have roll call, Bev?
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Rexenko?
Yes.
Child?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you please join me in pledging allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Your second, motion been made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chamber today. Bennett from the Mars Daily Sentinel, and especially people that are watching over television. We welcome you all to our meeting. The first thing on the agenda today is a hearing. It's a CDBG Downtown Facade Program. And the council has set this as a date and time to hear public comment regarding the plans, specifications, costs, and form of contract on the CDBG Downtown Facade Program. Mr. Peter Frank, our architect, is on the phone if we have any discussion on the projects or any questions, he'd be most happy to answer them. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask if there's any objections or comments to this project. Again, the hearing's open. I'm asking if there's any objections or comments to this project. Hearing none, at this time I'm going to be closing the hearing. Mr. Franks and the city staff are recommending the council approval. The project, the financial impact of the project budget is not changed. So does anybody have any questions regarding the project or update, or Scott, you want to?
Well, if the council would want Peter to go through the project at all, even in brief, to bring you up to date on where he's at. Okay, Pete, could you bring the council up to date on where you're at with this project?
Where we are at, Scott and council, we've submitted the design drawings, and they're being processed right now by Simcoe, and they will be then conveyed from Simcoe to Iowa Economic Development Authority, who will then convey them to the State Historic Preservation Office for their Section 106 review. And the Section 106 review has a 30-day time frame on it, and we expect that 30-day time frame to start next week. And we're going to need to time the bid opening in order for them to give us their concurrence on the finding of no adverse effect before we receive bids. So we've effectively completed our design work, and now it's essentially in the hands of the SHPO office to agree with the finding of no adverse effect for the work.
Do you want to explain what no adverse effect is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Do you want to explain what no adverse effect is?
Yeah, sure. It's part of the language of the Section 106 review, because we have properties that are in a National Register historic district, and because there are federal funds that are being utilized. Part of the Section 106 review process involves looking at the projects for their impact to historical or archaeological content, and in this case with these buildings, obviously we're looking at the historical impact, both specifically on the individual buildings, but in the larger context, the impact that it would have on the character of the historic district itself, in the larger context of the whole district. When the project is submitted for the Section 106 review, the technical and design information is accompanied by a letter that's authored by Simcoe, and the letter states this project is using these funds, therefore it's required to go through the Section 106 review process, and the cover letter that goes with each of these buildings. Each one submitted separately, so we'll have 29 cover letters and 29 submissions for SHPO. Each one of those, and the cover letter will say, we submit this, it's been designed in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties, and we ask the Preservation Office to concur with our finding of no adverse effect to the historic character of the property or the district based on the proposed work. And the finding that we expect to see and that we hope to see from the State Historic Preservation is them saying, we agree, and that technically it's a concurrence of a finding of no adverse effect.
Okay, so at what point during this red tape phase can we open bids, receive and open bids?
Technically, we can't touch the buildings until we have the concurrence back on all of the subject properties. The way we've got the schedule revised right now is we will have the finding back within the 30-day review period prior to us opening bids with the 30 October bid opening.
October 30th, okay.
Right here.
Peter, could you go through the revised schedule, since it is revised, and for the sake of the listeners on TV as well as those in the audience?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
I've got it here. You want me to do it, Scott?
The revised schedule, as we adjusted it based on where we are right now, is that the documents will be submitted to Economic Development in order for them to do their review and process them and then get them submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office in the next few days. We expect the SHPO login, which starts their 30-day review period, to be on September 24, next week. Our schedule for the balance of this is based on the 30-day review period starting on that 24 September date, where we would have bid documents released on the 2nd of October. We would have the pre-bid meeting on the 15th of October. On the 21st of October would be the close of the period for bidders to make substitution requests or requests for clarification during the bid process. On the 24th of October would be the end of the SHPO 30-day review period, at which point, if we've not heard from them, we can assume that there is concurrence. At this point, we've talked to Economic Development, and we fully expect that we will have feedback from SHPO at the 30-day point. And then we have the bid opening scheduled for October 30th. And what that allows us to do is, if on the day 29 or 30 or even day 31, if SHPO comes back and says, we would like you to make a modification to property X, that will still allow us time to issue a late addendum and have that incorporated into the bid documents prior to the bid opening.
And then, Pete, do you have any comments regarding the cost of the project?
The cost of the project is consistent with what we've said before and with the initial, with the estimate that was discussed the last time we were before council, is that our bid day target estimate is approximately $675,000, which is within budget and hasn't changed.
Does Simcoe want to say anything? You
Hi, I'm Erin Berzina from Simcoe. I just want to reiterate that tomorrow, actually it will be tomorrow, I will send the SHPO documents, the State Historic Preservation Office documents. I'll overnight them to the IEDA, the Economic Development Authority, so that part will be out of our hands and to the state for review. So, and I've been talking a lot with Pete Franks to make sure that we stay on our schedule, and also getting some clarification from those in the state as well, because I did take this project over from a staff member who left after having a child. So I'm happy to be working on it. If you have any questions on the grant administration end or anything that I can convey, I'm happy to help. And I think that Scott and Christy both have my contact information as well as Clark. So if you have any questions for me, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So what you're saying, Mr. Frank, is that the bid opening date will be set right now as far as October 30th?
30 October, 10 a.m. For the part that was on the council action form that wasn't completed when it was distributed. As we've got it scheduled right now, it will be 30 October, 10 a.m. bid opening. And I believe that will allow us for, as long as we don't have any irregularities or things like that, for council action the following week.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If not, I'd entertain a motion adopting the resolution.
Motion adopting resolution number 14-31 to adopt plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the CDBG downtown facade program.
Second?
Motion been made and second, adopting the resolution number 14-31 to adopt plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated of cost for the CDBG downtown facade program. Could we have a roll call on that, Bill?
Marcinko?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Perky?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion establishing October 30th, 2014 at 10 a.m., is that right?
Right.
As the date and time to receive and open bids for the CDBG downtown facade program with consideration of award at the November 4th council meeting.
Second?
Motion been made and second, establishing October 30th at 10 a.m. as a date and time to receive and open bids for the CDBG downtown facade program with consideration of the award at the November 4th council meeting. Can we have a roll call on that, Bev? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Frank, for your support and help.
Okay, thank you very much, and also thank you for allowing me to do this by telephone today.
You bet.
Okay.
We try to accommodate.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to general discussion. The way we handle our general discussion, if anybody has any comments, concerns, or good things to say about the city, we ask them to step up to the podium, state their name and address, and the council cannot make any decisions today on the topic, but they're always willing to listen. Seeing or hearing none, we'll move on. John,
Nothing.
thumbs up or word?
Nothing, sir.
Thumbs up to the Main Street fundraiser Ted Sullivan show. We had 500 guests. I want to thank everybody that attended, helped, performed, everybody involved with that. It was quite a unique event to see some of the unknown talents in our community.
They really came out that night, didn't they, them talents?
Something came out, yes.
Real good. Rex?
Yeah, I got one. Every month we get this building permit report from Jason Akura. And year-to-date, we have 18 new single-family house permits and 17 remodel permits in the city. And I think that's really good for a town of our size to be growing at that kind of clip. So hats off to all the people that are building houses and/or adding to houses.
I'm glad you brought that up, Rex, because I have a lot of people ask me, how many new homes
Yep.
are we growing or where we're at.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today, we have 7 of them. Approval of the September 2nd, 2014 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of bills for the period ending 9/12/14. Number 3 is a monthly financial statement for August 2014. Number 4 is renewal of the liquor license of the Family Table. And number 5 is a transfer of the liquor license of the Knights of Columbus. And number 6 is a urban revitalization tax exemption request. And number 7 is the annual street finance report. Does anybody have any questions on any of these prior to voting?
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 7.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion made and second, approving items, consent items 1 through 7. Can we have a roll call on that, Ben?
Matt,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Rex
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to the action items E, the Iowa State University Extension Plymouth County lease. Administration has met with the Iowa State University Extension Plymouth County representatives and has discussed the terms and conditions of the current lease. Said lease terminates on December 15, 2014. The extension wishes to negotiate a 5-year lease, which is considered by council must go through a public hearing first. Attached is a copy of the current lease, and changes noted during the discussion are shown. Recommendation is the only action at this time would be to proceed with a public hearing. Any council members have any questions on that?
Question, Scott, on the allocation of utility costs and that type of thing. Are we keeping current? Is that a good allocation percentage, or is the number we're basing the allocation on still a good number?
I believe it is, John, yes.
That program has worked out real good. I remember when we set that up, and it's worked out very good for the Plymouth County Extension and worked out good for us as far as the utilization of our convention center.
Jessica, you got any comments?
I do.
Okay.
I had gone back, Scott had asked me to kind of pull the numbers for what they're, how many times they're using it, non-exclusive, so I just quick kind of typed that out before I got it. They are model tenants, personally, because I'm not always up there, and a lot of people don't actually know that my office isn't there, so it is wonderful that we have another group that is there that kind of keeps an eye on the building itself during the week. There's people coming in and out a lot of times, and even people that they are looking to rent that facility, so they've got my information, they pass them along to me, so I think it's a wonderful partnership between the city and ISU, and something we definitely should continue doing.
Good. Thanks, Jessica.
And you haven't run into any scheduling conflicts or anything?
No,
Easy
they
work?
are, we kind of periodically go through the schedules to make sure that they've got everything that I've got, and then they work around what I've already got on the books. They're also very flexible, so if I don't maybe have a rental in there on a certain day, but one comes along, very easy to work with and say, can we move you to this other location so that I can put in another renter into that space that they're wanting, or they originally kind of supposed to be using. So those are the numbers that you're looking at there as far as the non-exclusive space. So we do bump around or move them around periodically depending on what we've got going on. So they're wonderful to work with, and yeah, I think a good relationship.
I think this list represents a lot of exposure for our convention center. And as Jessica already pointed out, I think we get a lot of benefit for them occupying this space and bringing all those potential renters into the building to show the building on. So I think it's really worked out well. For that, if you look at the schedule of fees, they do pay $200 a month as just a standard cost. So, and then a couple of things regarding the lease. The address changes simply because the U.S. Post Office wanted it that way. They're on the west side of the building. The 301 is the east side of the building, as you probably would have guessed. For some reason, the original lease was put under Plymouth County Agricultural Extension District, and they had requested in that addendum, if you read that, ISU extension, Plymouth County. So that would be changed. Certainly the dates would be changed. Through the course of the lease, some of those insurance numbers had gotten changed, so those again would be changed on the new lease. In paragraph 18 probably changes the most. Some paragraphs A, B, C, D, and E would all be deleted from the lease, simply because it doesn't apply anymore. That's when they paid for the renovation, and then we gave him credit for that renovation cost over a course of a 5-year period. So I, like Jessica, would like to say that I really think they are a model tenant, and we would strongly recommend your favorable vote.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Motion establishing October 7, 2014 at 12 p.m. as the date and time for public hearing on the Iowa State University Extension Plymouth County request for a 5-year lease at the lower level of the Lamar's Convention Center.
Second. Motion been made and second, establishing October 7th, 2014 at 12 p.m. as the date and time for the public hearing on the Iowa State University Extension Plymouth County request for a 5-year lease at the lower level of the Lamar's Convention Center. We have a roll call on that, Bev?
Do we need a roll call?
Huh? That's what it says here. I'm just going by the book. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to discussion. John?
Scott, we've changed the speed limit signs now on 75 South, and there's a lath with a piece of red rag hanging on them. That I
That's
think
not what
is-
we meant by flags.
We're looking for a steel, good-sized steel plate on an arm where it's very, very legible. On all those spots, so we appreciate that.
Is there any other questions?
That's all I've got.
Clark?
Scott, when is Lynn Drive scheduled for surfacing? Up from 10th, straight up from 10th there. Been ground down, and I just was curious.
Yeah, we had Bill Killen remove the asphalt to see the condition of the concrete underneath. And I did have 2 bids, one from Barclay Asphalt and the second one from Knife River to put asphalt back on that. However, the deterioration of the concrete and the settlement of the underlying soils really forces our hand to do a complete remove and replace of that concrete.
Okay.
And so I'm actively getting bids for yet this fall.
Okay.
To remove and replace it with Portland cement concrete.
Okay.
That's your question, Clark?
Yep, I'm done.
Delana?
Okay, got 3 things to make people aware of. First, tonight, there is an after 5 and 5:15 ribbon cutting in the alley for alley art behind, we're going to be in the alley behind Clausen's to kind of denote the end of that alley, and then we'll get started on, well, we've been started on others, but kind of a recognition of all of the work that's gone into the alley art. So that's tonight. I believe Thursday, does that sound right, Scott, for the wastewater treatment plant, Thursday, September 18th. There's an open house at the new wastewater treatment facility from 3 to 7 with an after 5 ribbon cutting. And then you may have noticed the lawn decor outside of the Art Center. We have a national watercolor display coming through Lamar's, and this is kind of a big deal. It starts on September 19th, and the following week, September 23rd, they are having an after 5. So there's several of those events coming up that recognize different entities that the city, chamber, Main Street are all involved in some way, shape, or form.
I'd like to expand on a couple of things on that, Delana. One is the wastewater treatment plant, that is from 3 to 7. We also have made available, parking is a little bit restricted out there, and so consequently, we made arrangements that you could park at the Little League ball field, which is right at the west end of town, and we've arranged for shuttle bus to shuttle people back and forth, if they so desire. They don't have to, but if they so desire to do that. The second thing I want to point out is on this art program, this is coming through on the 19th, is it?
Starts the 19th, it goes until October 25th.
I don't know if people realize it or not, but when that came out, it's coming out of California, and it's only going to go to 6 towns in the United States, and Lamar's is picked as one of them. So I think that's a real thumbs up award for our city of Lamar's here. Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
On that shuttle bus, how often is it gonna run, just so the people would know? Do you,
Whenever they get there, they'll take them, you know. I can't-
Okay.
It ain't every half hour.
Every 15 minutes or
Yeah,
something.
like
Okay,
that.
all
Or
right.
it takes them, because we don't know for sure, Clark, how many people are
Okay,
coming.
I was just
Yeah.
curious. All right.
But we have made it available.
I'm done.
You all done?
Yep.
Okay. Rex? You,
John and I had a nice joint urban renewal meeting yesterday morning. We got a lot of things accomplished. We didn't have many notes because we didn't have anybody else there. But
We were here, on time.
we had a nice discussion.
Yeah.
Joint urban
Joint
renewal.
Urban Renewal Board.
Yeah, it's that time of the month,
you know, we had a bad week in the office.
He understands.
And it was called communication.
So that's okay. We discussed a few things.
Send her drink coffee.
Proper notice didn't get out of it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Did you get everything settled?
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
did.
did.
But we didn't have anybody to take notes on how we settled it, so we'll have to do it again.
We'll notify you about 3 days ahead of time, the next one we have. How's that?
Okay, fair enough. I'm
Everybody
sorry,
pretty
I didn't want to say that, but,
much- everybody pretty much agreed with us.
yeah, it was,
Okay, Kenny?
I'll be Bill today, just to remind people, we have cleanup days going on out the landfill. And if they have questions or don't understand the program, I think City Hall has a sheet. They can come down and get the information, or they can call City Hall. But it goes on now through Saturday.
Thank you, Ken. Yes, I have a sheet right here. I was going to announce it, but they can come to the office or call in and
Just don't put your stuff out to the curb, because it won't
no, because they
disappear.
aren't going to pick it up, but they will. Good.
this is really nice stuff.
Okay, the other one I've got is tomorrow night, is another opportunity for an open house for the public here in the Mars, and that's our new solid waste hazardous building out at the landfill. And I believe that one is running from 4 to 7 tomorrow for an open house, public tours. And so you have an opportunity to hit two places this week if you want to see how we handle the processing of the end result of things. And so we welcome anybody to come to that also. The last one I got is Lamar's Fire and Rescue Pancake and Sausage Breakfast. Always goes over good every year. It's set up for Sunday, October 5th at 8 a.m. till noon. Free offering, and it's in Lamar's Fire Station number 1. So, any questions for anybody else? Scott?
Just another comment on the household hazardous. When Plymouth County Solid Waste Agency would go to Cherokee, a group was formed by the name of PCB, and PCB handled the household hazardous. And when that agreement dissolved between Plymouth and Cherokee, and Plymouth is now going to Jackson, Nebraska on the Leonard Gill site, then Plymouth County went to work with the state of Iowa and got several grants, I think 3 total, over a course of time, to get that built right here in Plymouth County so that all 11 cities and all the residents of Plymouth County, including all the cities, would have a specific place to go to for household hazardous material. So I think it is a pretty big deal, and I guess I would ask if all of you would show support of the Plymouth County agency in that regard. Also, I think 5 city staff are going to the City Energy Management Program, which is a city orientation meeting. You have a sheet on it. I gave it to you just to keep you informed. But it's myself and 4 other department heads for that orientation to really see how serious we can get with energy efficiency and energy management. Other than that, I guess I'm done.
Okay. You got anything, Bev? Okay.
We got Jason, he wants to go.
Oh, Jason, I'm sorry.
I just want to piggyback on Rex's comments during the thumbs up about the building permits.
Yeah.
What you saw today was through August, end of August, the 17 building permits. Last year was 23. I believe the year before was 19. So there is a good building pace for new homes. And in addition to that, in your consent items, there was 4 more urban renewal tax exemptions that you approved. To date, since its inception in April, end of April, beginning of May of 2012, with those 4, that makes 52 properties that have taken advantage of that.
Both for remodeling and new.
Yeah,
That program's working, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Jason, thanks.
Yeah.
You betcha. Okay, anything else? If not, we're going to be going into closed session, and at this time it ends the regular council meeting.